This is a unique tournament.
But if you look at the Chinese server teams, it's like 14.7 and 14.4 billion power.
I mean, his deads are insane. Yep. He's probably the biggest player in the game right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Good luck to them. That's what I'm rooting for.
Maybe being a Chinese team, they pull out some strategies that CCGT hasn't seen yet against international teams.
It's going to be intense. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Redline. I'm a content creator for Rise of Kingdoms. Today, we are having a podcast with fellow rockers, Fish and Ruz. If you guys don't know who Fish is, he's a fellow member in 1960. We have Ruz here, a longtime Rise of Kingdoms player. Gentlemen, how are you both doing today?
Yo, what's up? I'm doing good.
Feeling good. How are you doing, Fish?
Yes, same here.
If you guys can, give the community a brief introduction about you both.
Sure, I guess I'll go first. My name's Ruz. You might know me from 254 or like more namely SW. I've been pretty much a leader of top 10 Imperium like my whole time playing Rock. That'd be 1075 and 254. My OL background consists of mostly SW, but I also got the chance to play alongside and, watch and practice against TR for about a year. And so I reckon I've got quite a good understanding of OL. What about you, Fish?
Yeah, I'm Fish. I am the recruiter of 1960 in 60 GT for the past 6 migrations. In my Osausi career, basically, what did I do? I played in MX for Season 6. There we got the 4th rank, beaten by 60 GT, our other team. And in Season 7 now, I was in the 60 GT team, and there we became champions.
Welcome both. I really appreciate you guys for being here. I am glad to have you guys here to talk about the upcoming Grand Prix tournament that's coming up with the 16 teams. For those who don't know, who's watching this podcast today, this is a unique tournament. And Ruz, can you kind of give them a brief breakdown of like how this starts, how teams are entered?
Yeah, I guess I'll touch on it a little bit. Essentially, this, like you said, it's a pretty exclusive tournament. It happens like once a year. This is the second time that the tournament's rolled around. The last time was roughly the same time last year. So the way like invitations go and how the top 16 teams were chosen was based on 2 processes. So one was a registration, and that happened quite recently, like I think a couple weeks ago. The other was invitation. So the way invitation works is Lilith wanted to get the top team in the game, and by doing so, they chose the winners of the last 2 OLs in all 4 realms on our international server. So that's how the first 8 were chosen. The other 4 by invitation were from the Chinese server. So I think they're on season 4 of OL right now.
Got it.
And the second process was through registration, like I briefly touched on. So that happened quite recently. There were 4 teams chosen in total, so that makes it 16.
Yeah.
There were 2 from the international server, so our server, and there were also 2 from the Chinese server, and that was based on total power of the team.
Got it. So just to be clear, 75 DC, 1V, 93T, GB77, 60 GT, and I believe 89 CG are all former champions in the international realm. So, man, there's a lot of power, a lot of experienced players in this tournament, man. So in total, we have 16 teams. I'm really looking forward to see what this tournament brings, who's going to come out on top. What are your guys' thoughts on the 16 teams currently that are here for the upcoming tournament?
We have really, really strong teams. I mean, if we first of all take a look maybe at the registration teams, we have for the international server Mix, which is basically, a mix of like Chinese-speaking players mostly. We have players from 960 there, we have players from 302 there, we have players from other kingdoms there. And also we have FF15, which is mostly done by players of 2605. Additionally to that, then, we have the Chinese server registration teams, YYDS and VOG. And if you compare these 2 teams, it's actually quite insane, because like Mix and FF15, their power is around 9 billion power, which is a lot, considering you have like 30 players. But if you look like at the Chinese server teams, it's like 14.7 and 14.4 billion power, which is an insane difference. Especially if you like consider that like the Chinese server is so much younger than the international server, and they're bringing so much power into the team. Basically, it's just an enormous difference.
Man, I'm looking at YYDS, and their total power is 14 billion. I mean, just from the accounts alone, that's a lot of power coming from the Chinese servers, man. It's gonna be intense. Yeah, so like a lot of the teams you guys mentioned, they're all really well-known players. I mean, the upcoming matches we have right now, let's say first up we have 75 DC and 466S. 75 DC is the current champion in the Roman International realm. How do you guys think about that matchup?
75 DC, all of us international players, we've seen them. They're like in the youngest realm. They were also in the grand final where they said they couldn't succeed. They're a really young team, so they're probably also pretty excited to be part of this event.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have 466S. And 466S, they won in season 4 of the Chinese server the Anubis realm. They're like first-time champion right now. They overwhelmed a lot of teams that were like really high level before. And basically also people see them as like the rising star in the Chinese server. So I personally think that 466S could be a contender also for the semi-final or final or even title.
Wow.
So I definitely think that this match will be pretty one-sided for 466S.
Wow. Yeah, because from my understanding, for 75 DC, I know that Pho, if you don't know, he's one of the kings in 2489. He definitely contributed a lot to helping 75 DC get to the championship, from my understanding, from what I've heard. So hopefully that his guidance will be able to push him through to get as far as semifinals or the finals. So we'll look forward to that matchup. But for 66S, I hope everybody looks out for that team. Going next to the next matchup, GB77 versus A-97. Russ, take that one. What do you think?
Everyone for the international server, we probably know GB77 as 2377.
Yep.
They're also another Vietnamese alliance. Their most renowned players, or probably most known players, would be the Mr. Hope and Wild Lion duo. I think most know them for, being the two really big Krakens that kind of came out of nowhere and started spending a lot, and they were really quick to hit 1 billion power each.
Yep.
SW actually played this alliance pretty recently, and I got to get a glimpse of how they play. They do quite a traditional way of playing Arc, playing quite evenly for mid and structures. But I'd like to actually highlight A-97 on the other hand. So A-97 is from the Chinese server, and their level of technical and like mechanical skill is out of this world. Their reaction times to making calls and playing the structure game super aggressively. So unlike GV77, they take quite a really aggressive way of pushing structures. Something that I actually haven't seen a lot in our international server. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this matchup, where it's a really, really nice display of how the traditional international server method of playing Arc compares to the Chinese aggressive way.
Agreed. But on top of that, if you guys don't know who Helios is an original 254 and a 1034 player. So hopefully he can bring the experience to help GB77 and get far in the tournament. But good luck to both teams, man. And I really like to see how international will go against the Chinese servers in its upcoming tournament. Now going to USD and 489. This is going to be a good one. 489, I mean, again, 489 has multiple alliances. I think they have 2 teams in this tournament. But this one here, I feel like, from my understanding, where a lot of the original players are from 1021. Do you guys have any additional insight on these 2 teams?
Yeah, of course. I personally think that this could be one of the best matches that we're going to get first. 489, no words needed. They're an amazing team, of course. Everyone knows that. They're always pretty on top in the past, especially also when they were in 1021. And USD, of course, now people will not know who is USD, but USD is like one of the best teams on the Chinese server by far. This team is extremely successful in the Chinese server. And if you look at one time at Seawill's YouTube channel, you can also see a match of them against A-97 from the last final. And this team plays really strategic. And this team is also able to use skills in ways that many of the international teams are not able to use them, to be honest. And so I think that this match in general could be really interesting because it's 2 teams which are really strategic, meeting each other. And I personally think that USD is going to take this one home. But 489 definitely have a chance here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, they got players like Sibo, they got players like BK Love, so they have a really good pool of players on this 489 team, and we're really interested to see how this matchup plays out, because this tournament is not easy, and I wish all teams involved good luck, because you're definitely playing the best of the best. Now, I kind of want to go over to the 88 VH and the FF15. What are your guys' thoughts on this matchup and the players involved?
So I think this is going to be quite a big match in terms of the big name. If anyone's unaware, 88VH is the team that took JST's place as per invitation into this realm. Now, FF15 is the resemblance of the SW team from 2605 with a couple of fill-ins. The reason this match is quite big in terms of known players is because of how many massive and celebrities we have in these teams. So to kick it off, I mean, we have our own very little celebrity. If you don't follow football, there is a footballer on the 88VH team, and that is Makote.
Yep.
So he's actually Marquinhos from the PSG football team. He's probably the actual biggest celebrity that we have in the game right now. So all eyes on him. On the other hand, we have not real celebrities, but they do make their name in Rise of Kingdoms. Just going off the list, we have Yoda. If you don't know Yoda, also going by Justin, I'd be surprised if you don't know him. He's in every live stream chat, just dropping the $20.
Yeah, big supporter of the community. Yeah, biggest supporter of the community.
Huge supporter. So Yoda's actually also a new Kraken, similar to Wild Lion and Mr. Hope. And he's pushed insane power. I mean, he was listed as 1.5 billion for Reg. I mean, his deads are insane. Yep. He's probably the biggest player in the game right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Following behind him is Fluffy Pony. Fluffy Pony is hovering around 800 million. Fluffy also plays in quite a lot of other big kingdoms around like the A and B seed. So if you've had a chance to fight him, he's quite a whale himself. The list doesn't stop there. So we also have BT Cyborg. If you don't know BT Cyborg, he originally played largely in 916 until he moved kingdoms onto another Imperium, and then finally landed in SW in 2605.
And just to top it all off, because I know you talked about a famous footballer, Marquinhos, who's playing, but looking at the roster on the 88VH side, they have a lot of players from 846 on this team as well, man.
Yes,
so
it looks like a huge mix.
So this is definitely gonna be a good matchup. Good luck to FF15 and 88VH on their first round of tournaments, and we're really excited to see what comes out of this. Now, going to the other side of the bracket, we have 1V and 93T. And if you guys don't remember, during the Osiris League, throughout the playoffs, these two face each other with 93T coming on top. Am I correct on that? I just want to. Well, yeah. So correct. It's kind of like round 2 of this, and looking at the roster, I feel like it's still a majority of them are probably on the same 1v team. I'm sure that they may have like 1 or 2 people who kind of came from other kingdoms to kind of bolden their rosters. And it looks like the same thing for 93T. Like their roster is majority from 93. What do you guys think? One current champion and one former champion going head to toe in the Grand Prix. What are you guys' thoughts on these two matchups?
I actually think this is probably going to be the most hype matchup in the top 16. I think that's the matchup that everyone's looking forward to watching. It's going to be pretty interesting to see if 1v can actually do, make a change in the rematch, like change up the result. Has 1v studied 93 enough to be able to, counter what went wrong in their last game? I don't know. I'm looking really forward to seeing this matchup again.
Yeah, I think honestly, this will probably be one of the most hyped matchups to come. I mean, right now 1v is currently in KVK, so when they start, this tournament starts, hopefully they'll be refreshed and ready to go. There's a couple players on here, Piltong. For those who don't know, he's a content creator also out of 1034. Amazing Garrison player and amazing player overall. Asian Drum and multiple members of 1v. Hopefully, love to see them come out strong in this upcoming matchup. And then 93T, man, you got Cabo in there. You got Legend FF, I believe, is on the roster. So there's a lot of well-known players leading the 93T team. So hopefully, good luck to them. Let's see who wins this best out of 2. And good luck to both teams in the upcoming match.
Yep. I mean, Silent Flow as well. I mean, who doesn't know Silent Flow? Yeah. He's been leading 93 since dawn of time.
And this, honestly, there's another side note. It's really cool to see 93T and just the Kingdom 93 just in general, like doing great things. Like they've been around for so long and still like, performing at a high level at the same time, winning OL. They were the underdogs in the regular OL And I would love to see how they kind of go against all these elite teams going into the Grand Prix, man. It's gonna be really exciting.
100%.
It's gonna be really exciting to see.
For anyone that doesn't know, like 93 is probably the oldest and the longest standing Imperium in the entire game.
Yep.
They've been the largest kingdom. Well, not the largest, but they've been one of the largest for probably since the start of Rise of Kingdoms. Even when it was called Rise of Civilizations. So, I'm very excited to see 93. I think that their performance in the last OL has really, shaken the boat, and a lot of people were surprised that they took winner of the realm, because most people saw their kingdom as a KVK kingdom where they don't actually focus on OL. They weren't necessarily bad at OL. They're definitely a top 4 team before the season, but it looks like they've really improved and they've pushed for that winner this season. I mean, if you also don't know 1v, they're like the most renowned OL kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in multiple top 4s of seasons in the most competitive realm in the international server. So I wouldn't put it past them to be able to adapt to what 93 is shaken up this season and work some magic to be able to beat them.
Completely agree with you on that, man. Completely agree with you on that. Now, going to the next matchup, we have GY16 and Mix, and I believe GY16 is a Chinese team or Chinese-speaking team, and then Mix is an international team. What are you guys' thoughts on these two?
This matchup should be really good, to be honest. I mean, you have 2 Chinese-speaking teams, one from the international server and one from the Chinese server. And I think the team to keep an eye out for at this one is GY16. GY16 is basically the team from the Chinese server. They were 1-up in the first season, champion in the second and third season, plus also in the fourth season now they were the 4th place. So they lost there. I think it was against A-97, but it was still a really good match. And this team is basically the team in the Chinese server. They dominated back then. They are also one of the biggest kingdoms in the Chinese server. Everyone basically knows them there. If I'm not wrong, I think that they were also one of the first alliances to hit gift level 50.
Oh, wow.
In the Chinese server.
Damn.
Wow.
And this team, in general, I think could be the one bringing this one home also. Together with A-97. These 2 teams are like basically my personal favorites. On the other hand, you have Mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem at Mix in general is you have a team set up with many players from different kingdoms.
Yep.
So these players, like, first time get together, know they're practicing, and Osiris League is a lot about practice, about having, like, one team that you keep going and going and going. I think that's also one of the reasons why 93T, for example, became that crazy good, basically, at strategy, at macro, at everything, because they always play together.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think this could be the big problem at Mix now, because you have so many players from different kingdoms. If I look at the players they have, of course they have a lot of huge, amazing names. Like they have Sean from us from 960.
Yeah.
They have Mr. Go from 960.
Yeah.
Amazing players, like highest quality that you can get basically. They have a lot of players from 302. They have also Maljaha, also a player that is really well known from 1514, I think. And you put all these players basically together now, and the practice time is pretty short. And they are facing basically one of the best teams on the Chinese server there ever been. And so I think that this matchup could be pretty one-sided for GY16. I don't really see a big surprise potential at this one, but I mean, we're going to see.
I completely agree, man. Like, a lot of times teams who play together for a long period of time really do well. So hopefully Mix has the experience and can really click the chemistry going into this matchup, because it's going to be a freaking tough one for them. So good luck to both teams. Now, second to the last matchup that we're going to talk about is 89CG versus VOOK. 89CG, a 2489 team, and I believe Arvix is probably on this team as well again. But also you got Pho, also part of this team, Lee Kun, Minerva. So a lot of people who originated from 556 that went over to 2489. It's a good mix of players. Really excited to see how this team does on their first round together against VOOK. So, and VOOK, I believe, again, is another team from the Chinese server. What are you guys' thoughts?
I think additionally to this, by the way, to the players, we can also say at this team there's also Baba TC Ataturk in the team.
Baba's there, yes, they're right.
Which is also a really famous known player, of course, one of the biggest players in the game. I think probably for 2 or 3 years he was the biggest player in the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this could be a good match. I think 89CG got the advantage here, even though they couldn't really have the same success as in Season 6 in the last season. But we are okay. Again, it's like a team mixed up by players from different kingdoms.
Yep.
If I look one time, you have a lot of powerhouses on the team. It's actually crazy from looking at that list, and it has 30 players above 300 million power.
That's insane.
It's simply insane. Still, I think that 89CG got the advantage here, but I think that there's a bigger surprise potential at this one than at the mixed match for sure.
Got it, guys. So that the Book and Mix from the previous matchup kind of have the same situation where different players from different kingdoms are coming together, but you think that this team may have an easier time clicking together to maybe possibly come out with the win against 89CG.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we'll see how that goes up in the upcoming matchup, and I look forward to that. Now, the last matchup of the first round is YYDS versus our kingdom 1960. I'm gonna ask you, Fish. I've been here for maybe a few months, so I'm not really integrated into the 1960 team or had the knowledge that you may have. So what are your thoughts on this team? Because again, 1960 is champions multiple times over the last few seasons against this YYDS team. What do you think?
I think this could be a pretty good match. Of course, we as 60GT, I think we're continuing with our team mostly. So that's definitely a plus factor for us. While YYDS is, I think from the Chinese server number 21 mostly. And this server in general, in the Chinese server, didn't had too much victory yet in Osiris League before. They have a lot of power, of course. I think they're like one of the top 3 kingdoms in the Chinese server, but they never really had that Osiris League success before. So I think, okay, this season they were ranked 3. That should still be said. But I still think that this is a matchup in our advantage. But I still think that this could be a really, really good match. And one that I'm definitely looking forward to.
Fair. So now that we talked about all the teams in the top 16, I just want to go through predictions with you guys, right? Who you think's to be winner? You're going to pick one or the other. So for the first one, 75DC and 466S. Who do you guys think is coming out on top?
I personally think that 466S is going to take the win on this one.
Okay.
Simply because I think 75DC, although they have a lot of older players helping them, and what proved their success in current oil season, like you said with 4, having a little bit of influence on their oil team, I think that 466S is, although they're similar and they're new, that they get to scrim against a lot harder teams in the Chinese server, so they have a lot more practice and adaptability. But yeah, I think I'm a little bit biased. I'm rooting for the Chinese teams because I'm very interested to see how their playstyle matches our international servers.
Fair. How about you, Fish? Who do you think will win that matchup?
Yeah, short and simple. I would definitely say 466S.
Okay.
It's definitely my favorite here, and I don't really see a big surprise happening here.
I'm going for 75DC. Good luck to the team representing international servers. That's what I'm going for. Now let's go to the next prediction. GV77 and A-97.
I mean, A-97, they were Osiris League champions season 4, season 3. We know how competitive the Chinese server is at everything. I definitely think A-97 will be the huge favorite here.
There.
I don't see a big surprise happening here as well. GV77 is an amazing team, amazing kingdom, but A-97, 2 times in a row they won the realm, so I don't really see a big surprise here.
I'd have to agree. Like A-97's way of playing is just absurd. Like when I was watching the gameplay from their finals, it was just mind blowing. I don't think that 489 will be able to compete. Oh, sorry, GV77. I mean, they're just too strong, and their mechanics are out of this world.
I also think like at A-97, the thing that we're gonna see is like the teleportation skills. Like A-97 is crazy at the teleportation skills. I think it was the first match of them against USD in this year's final, where they used the teleportation skill to get the obelisk. USD did the same thing, but A-97 did it simply better and won the match. And I think especially these teleportation skills, they were not that developed yet in the international server. Many teams did not use them at all, so I think that's a big advantage for them.
Well, I'm going for GV77. I'm repping the international servers, guys. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm rooting for Arvix and the entire team to take the win. My ally in this KVK, and I hope for them to beat and go to the next round. Good luck to them. USD 489. Ruz, who you picking?
Unfortunately, I'll have to go with USD on this one. I think they're very comparative to 93, where they're like a very old team that's been playing together for a while. They won season 1 in team, the Horus Realm in their server, and then they were also runners up in the current season and the season before. So I think with that foundation and just the fact that they've been playing over and over again, especially against these really insane teams like GY16 and A-97, they just have the practice on hand to be able to beat 489.
Yeah, I have to go at this one as well with USD. I mean, after I watched the matches of them against A-97, I think A-97 and USD are in such a good form right now. They play so perfectly at some points, so I don't really see how they can lose at this point yet. But definitely, 489, we know they're an amazing team, so definitely there's a surprise potential at this one.
And I agree, 489 is definitely an amazing team, but I have to say that 489 is going to take this win because they're from the international server. Good luck to them. That's what I'm rooting for. 88VH, FF15. I'm going to start with Fish first, though, before we get into this.
Yep.
Fish, what's your prediction?
I am cheering for 88VH at this one.
Oh, okay. Any reason why? You think there's like an advantage that they may have, or because you're a Marquinhos fan?
I think the players from 88BH have a bigger understanding in Nostalgic.
Fair. How about you, Ruz?
No, I think that's fair enough. But obviously, although I'm a little biased, I'm going to have to go with my boys in FF15. Gotta rip the flag, I don't think they don't have that low of an understanding of it well. I think that as long as they play, a traditional Orwell format, I think they'll be able to compete with 88VH. But again, we'll just have to see. They have a lot of new players. Like, it's not going to be purely SW players, so we'll have to see how those players perform.
Fair. And if I had to pick, I mean, they both are great teams, but I think that FF15 will win this one because Yoda is on the team and he supports the community so much. Let's go, Yoda! But that's my prediction. Now going into the 1v93T matchup, I'm gonna go first. I think that 93T is gonna take it. It's been a crazy run for them. I feel like they got their strategy down, and I think they'll take this. How about you, Raz? What do you think?
No, I definitely think 93T are going to take this. I don't think 1v, no matter how much they try, even if they pull out a wild card or, rabbit out of the hat, that they'll be able to, push 93 enough to be able to beat them. Like, the overwhelmingness of 93's gameplay in this season has been absolutely insane. From their match against 1v to their matches against 60 GT, you can clearly see that they're a level ahead of everyone in the international team. So I'd be very interested to see how 1v plays this match to see if they do anything differently.
Fair. How about
you?
I
think it's 93.
How about you, Vish?
I mean, I supported 93T already at the beginning of last season, and they were definitely an amazing pick for last season, and they did really, really well. And I think the thing that we should not forget about Grand Prix in general, everyone got the same gear, everyone got the same commander, everyone got the same power. And especially this is like a mode where 93T can shine. Because while at the last time when 93T and 1v met, the gear advantage was of course there, the VIP advantage maybe. At this matchup now, everything's equal. So I definitely think that's a huge advantage for 93T. And I also think that 93T is probably the best team right now from the international server.
Fair. Raz, what do you think about the GY16 and mix matchup?
I think this is going to be so insanely one-favored for GY16 side that not even going to bother watching. I just think that MIX is like we just touched on before. Arc is a completely different game mode to Rise of Kingdoms, like KVKs and stuff like that, where you have to play with one team over and over again. Like, it takes years of building up
chemistry.
Right, exactly. Chemistry, and each player has their own role. the more matches you play in practice, the more of a niche you have for that role.
Yeah.
Like, am I sending my marches here at this time, or where should my other marches be, etc.? Like, what time should I be dead by? Stuff like that. So I just think that just by advantage and, just to top it all off, GY 16's gameplay is incredible. I mean, you'll see. I think that people watching should take note of GY 16, and I think A-97 especially, on how quick they are to reacting and making like on the spot calls, as well as making decisions that you wouldn't normally see in the international server.
Got it.
So I definitely keep my eyes on them.
Got it. Fish?
Yeah, I'm extremely hyped to see GY 16. I mean, they are the most successful team from the Chinese server yet, with all their trophies and everything. So GY 16 it is, for sure.
I have to agree with you guys on that. I think GY 16 will take it because of the chemistry alone. So we'll see if our predictions are right when the first round's over. Now let's go to VOOK and 89CG. I'll start first. I think I have to go with 89CG. I feel like 89 has the chemistry they need to do to beat VOOK. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I feel like they're gonna upset VOOK. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 89CG probably got the advantage of playing longer together. So this should be the advantage for them, but at the same moment, I don't know. I simply have the feeling that VOOK can still make that.
Yeah.
And I personally would just pick them now because my heart is telling me VOOK.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see those teams on the Chinese server bring like new strategies, new everything to a Cyrus League one time for us. So I would cheer for VOK at this one.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to have to take your side, Red. I think 89CG will take this game. I haven't seen enough of VOOK to think that they have what it takes to beat 89CG. Although it is still a relatively new team in 2489.
Yep.
Most of the players have been playing together in 556 and another Vietnamese kingdom before that.
Yeah.
So I think the chemistry is there, and I think that they have what it takes to be able to take down the Chinese team.
Agreed. Good luck to both teams. Now the last matchup: 60GT and YYDS. Fish, predictions.
Yeah, I cannot say anything else than I would definitely go with 60GT at this one, simply because I am from 60GT.
Yep. Ruz?
I'm going to have to take YYDS's side on this one. But I think we've seen enough of 960 Rain, and I think it's time for YYDS to really show them what's up. You never know. Maybe being a Chinese team, they pull out some strategies that 60GT hasn't seen yet against international teams. And really catches them by surprise, or they have some new tech with, certain pairings or stuff like that to be able to, really take them by surprise.
Yeah. You both make good arguments. I mean, Fish alone just said he's from 1960, and I'm from 1960 as well.
I mean, that's pretty good.
So I think that I'm gonna have to go with Fish. I feel like our team is here in 1960 is gonna do what they can to learn from the previous matchup, where they unfortunately lost 93T and come back stronger. So good luck to that team. Now, two things. I want to ask you guys, who do you think is going to make it to the semifinals and then the finals? So let's start with the top left bracket. Of the four teams, which team is making it to the semifinals in your opinion?
I think A-97 is taking that spot for semifinals.
I would say the same. Like A-97 is, I think, a pretty safe pick at this one.
How about the bottom left bracket now?
I'm going to have to go with FF15 here.
Oh.
I mean, you never know. I think that they can pull out some tech to be able to beat USD. I personally haven't seen much USD footage, although I have seen one game, and I do know that they are a very strong team. I don't think that they play as unconventional as a lot of other international teams, and I think that FF15 will use that to their advantage, based off what the other Chinese teams are doing.
Fair.
So I think there's a chance.
Fair.
Honestly, I think there's a chance. If it was GY16 or A97, I'd say no way. It would be one of them. But I think USD's plays a lot closer to what international teams play. So I think FF15 has a chance of winning, making the semis.
Fish?
Yeah, I sadly have to fully disagree. I think USD is one of the best teams strategy-wise on the Chinese server by far. I think they have excellent strategy, excellent macro gaming, tactical, everything is on top basically. So I would definitely go with USD at this one, especially after watching the match USD against A-97. I think USD is an amazing team.
I'm going with 489, baby. Let's go international all the way. I got to pick one, and I think 489 is going to take it.
Go.
They're going to be the underdogs, and I think they're going to come out strong.
International, let's go, dude.
Top right, 1V, 93T, GY16 mix. Who's making it to the semifinals?
This is a bit of a hard one. You're pretty much, in my eyes, comparing 93's peak performance against GY16.
Mm-hmm.
So GY16 recently, got knocked to A97. So really, you have to think: is 93 better or worse than A97, or can 93 strat work against GY16 or their playstyle?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think this is a bit of a hard one. I'm probably going to have to go with 93 just because I'm on that international train.
Thank you.
And I think the main thing is they're in their prime.
Yep.
Right? Like they've got that adrenaline rushing through them. They beat 960 twice, who, GT was like the kings of OL up until like recently.
Yep.
At least in my eyes, right? So yeah, I think if 93, keeps up the momentum, that they can go really far in this tournament.
I agree too. I think 93T has momentum. They beat almost all the best teams in OL, especially in the Horus realm. Like the first realm is always the toughest. And I feel like they've done everything they need to do to be on top. So I'm saying 93T is going to make it far to the semifinals. How about you, Fish?
It's a very difficult one for me, to be honest, because at one point I really cheer for 93T. On the other hand, I really want to see the matchup GY16 against 60GT in this tournament. So I personally will have to go with GY16 as my favorite for this matchup. Even though I think that 93T definitely got the potential to get it to the final or even win this one.
The last four, Fish, who is making it to the semifinals?
Yeah, I have to go with 60GT, and that's obvious.
Ruz?
Going to have to agree and actually go with my old statement, and YYDS will be taking that semifinal spot.
Fair. I'm going with 60GT as well. So, based on our discussions here, who is making it to the finals now? I think, I hate to say this, right? Because I'm in from 1960, but I really think 93T is going to be starting on the right, and on the left, I think it'll be USD.
I would agree with the 93 selection, but I would take A97 over USD. Strictly because they're also playing on momentum right now, and they're in their peak shape. They just won both OL seasons back to back, and having just entered Horus and winning the realm is insane. Like especially beating a kingdom like USD or GY16 is it's not something to look over. So I definitely think A97 will take that left spot.
Yeah, left side for me without a doubt A97. I think another thing that we didn't even mention yet is also that A97 is the grand final champion of the Chinese server. And they won 2-0 first against USD in the normal final. And I think in the grand final, they beat 466S, also 2-0, if I'm not wrong.
Wow. Yeah.
So A97, they play a crazy season this time. They won everything this season. So I definitely think left side is pretty clear for me, A97. And on the right side, I'm not really sure. It could be 93T, it could be GY16, or it could be 60GT. Of course, I'm cheering for 60GT. But yeah, it could be either of the three teams, in my opinion.
Let's say A97. I think we can all agree, because again, A97 USD, like head to head. But if either team made it to the finals, right, and 93T was in the finals as well, who do you think is gonna be the champion? And then against 93T, and then I'll ask you the same question for GY16 and 60GT.
Okay. I think A97 versus 93 is A97 winning.
Got it.
When you figure something out that like just works and it clicks, and you just keep going with it, it just like you just steamroll.
Fair. Yep.
That's how I see it in my eyes.
If so, GY16. But if A97 win against GY16?
Yes, I think A97 beats
wow.
I mean, in my personal opinion, I'm pretty sure A97 just trumps every team, in my opinion.
Got it. So they'll take GT also if GT made it to the finals.
Yeah, I think A97 wins. Yeah.
How about you, Fish?
I mean, it hurts for me to say, since I am from 60GT, even though I, of course, don't play on the team right now for the Grand Prix. A-97 seems dominant to me. I don't see a way how they can be beaten right now, unless, I don't know, people don't appear. A-97 is simply full dominance, so I think 93T, GY16, GT all have a chance, of course.
Yeah.
But I have to say, A-97 is the favorite.
So, you know what? I honestly think that it's going to be A-97 and 93T that's going to make it. Well, I said USD now. You guys convinced me otherwise. A-97 will be in 93T, and I honestly think that A-97 will take the championship and represent the Chinese servers. So, I don't know. Those are predictions, guys. There's a lot of things up in the air. These are amazing teams from both the international and Chinese servers, and I want to wish good luck to every single member and every single team participating in the Grand Prix. Appreciate you both for being here as a part of this podcast to kind of talk about the teams, giving the community an insight of what to expect and our thoughts and our predictions. But is there any last things that you both want to say to the community before we start this amazing tournament and the show?
I don't see, OL and ARC stuff being pushed enough. I honestly, ARC to me is a completely different game inside of Rock.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, commitment to be able to improve and really understand how to play top tier ARC. But I really hope that people push, make the effort to be able to, really understand what's going on in ARC games, because it's not just simple, send march here, rally this, swarm this, etc. Right? There's a complexity to it.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people in the community should, make the effort to learn, what ARC's like, and maybe watch these games and apply it to your own teams to really improve. I want to see more competition in the next seasons of OL in all realms.
Agreed. How about you, Fish? Any last words?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for the tournament. I'm super excited to see how the Chinese teams perform against our international teams. And yeah, my last words, I just wish all the best to our own team, 60GT. And I hope that our team will definitely, hopefully succeed. And yeah, best of luck to everyone.
Best of luck to everybody. To the community, thank you guys again so much for being here. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure to tune in next time on the next updates of the Grand Prix. Have a good day.